Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, and it is time for another episode of Unpopular Opinions, my weekly show where I break down all the top Bravo news and moments of the week, and of course, give my opinions on them all.
That's my opinion!
Okay, we've got more big Bravo announcements that came at us this week, as well as some tea about the future of the Valley. And unfortunately, some not so good news about my queen, Sonja Morgan. Yes, my former favorite Real Housewife is not having a very good week, and we are going to get into it all. But before I dive in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news. Okay, I will preface this by saying I am filming this a few days early because if you are watching this on Monday when the episode drops, I will currently be in the air on my way to Italy for a vacation. Yes, I honestly do not remember the last time I took a real vacation. I'm going over there with my husband for 2 weeks. We're heading to Rome and then down to the Amalfi Coast. If you guys have any tips, please drop them in the comments. But I will be taking a little bit of a hiatus. But I did want to hop on and record an early episode for you guys. So you guys had this for this week. I'll be taking off next week, and then I will be returning the following week. So just a little bit of a programming update in case you are looking for next week's episode. But early or not, there is a lot of news to cover from this past week. The first of which is the NBC Upfronts. So every year, NBC hosts the Upfronts where all of their networks kind of announce like what's coming up, what's coming down the pipeline. It is basically for advertisers to get excited about the content that these networks are producing and possibly buy ad spots. Bravo does it up every year, and this year was no exception, because the Bravo Lebs came out for this week's Upfronts and came out swinging. Andy posted this picture of him surrounded by housewives. I love it so much. Let's break down who is in the photo. So, of course, we have Wendy from Potomac, Tamra from OC, Dorit, Shamia, Alexia, Giselle, Marisol, Gina, Phaedra, and Erica Jane. Now, this is quite a photo. I love this photo. But this actually says a lot about what is coming up on Bravo, because if you notice, once again, we talked about this last week, which was not a part of their announcement then. We have no New York or New Jersey women here. We also don't have any representation of Salt Lake City, though we know that that is safe. But it definitely is interesting to see the housewives that they picked to come and attend this event, because if anything, this shows that whoever is showing up here is not going anywhere. It's safe to say that these housewives in this photo are safe at least for the upcoming seasons. This tells me that Dorit and Erica will both be back full-time for next season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It tells me that Phaedra isn't going anywhere. We had some rumors going on about Tamra, but it definitely seems like she's not going anywhere. I think it is safe to say that every woman in this photo we will be seeing in at least the upcoming season of their shows. We also got cast members from Southern Hospitality and Southern Charm, as well as Summer House. We have Carl, Kyle, and Jesse representing Summer House, which is an interesting crowd. We don't have any of the ladies representing. Obviously, I think we're all questioning whether Lindsay and or Paige will be returning next season, and that is definitely not confirmed by their attendance at the Upfronts. But the most interesting cast members to attend this event, in my opinion, were Sheena and Brock, because what the hell are you doing there? I'm sorry. I don't hate Sheena and I don't hate Brock either, but they are currently not on any full-time shows. I mean, to be honest, I thought that we would actually be seeing more of Sheena on the Valley. So far, we haven't even seen her face. We've only heard her on the phone drop that bombshell about the star from Baywatch. So it is really interesting to see them be represented at this Upfront as some of like the main cast members that Bravo is actually excited about. So this gets me wondering, will Sheena and Brock be filming more for next season of The Valley? Will they be getting a spinoff? How are they going to continue as part of the Bravo family? It is definitely unclear at this point, but this shows that they still have a future with the network. Okay, so the upfronts did not only bring out all of these Bravo celebrities, they also announced BravoCon. We already knew that BravoCon was happening, but they made it official. The website is live, the app is live. If you haven't checked it out, go over to bravocon2025.com to check out all the details. But as somebody who has been to all three BravoCons, the first ever one in New York, the second one in New York, and the third one in Vegas 2 years ago, I would consider myself a BravoCon expert. So I'm going to break down a few little tips and tricks that I have learned throughout the years and kind of give you some info on what to expect for this year's event. Okay, so first things first, tickets go on sale Friday, June 6th. And let me just preface this by saying if you guys have any questions about BravoCon, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will answer them in my next video because I will be back with a new episode the week that BravoCon tickets go on sale. So drop your comments, questions, and I will answer them then. But until then, let's break it down. So tickets go on sale Friday, June 6th, and there are two tiers. Bravoholic, which is general admission, and Future Bravo Leb, which is VIP. Now, I get this question a lot. Is VIP worth it? Because it is a very pricey ticket. And I will say, if you are a Bravo fan, a devoted Bravo fan, you listen to the show every week, you watch all the shows, VIP, guys, is definitely worth it. I mean, you get to basically rub shoulders with Bravo celebrities all weekend long. You get access to this lounge with photo ops. You don't have to stand in these long lines to wait for everything. You also get VIP access to all of the panels. You get to sit in the front rows of the panels. Don't get me wrong. GA, you will still have a good time. You still have access to everything. Just keep in mind, it's basically just you might have to wait in more lines. You might not get the best seats to every panel. Just think of the VIP as kind of like a VIP fast pass access to a lot of the panels and events, and then you get this additional lounge access. Now, I will say, in order to kind of enhance your general admission experience, if you do decide to do GA, I would recommend getting a ticket to Bravopalooza. Now, what is Bravopalooza? Bravopalooza is actually an add-on that you can purchase, which is kind of like its own little VIP lounge. You get about an hour or two during the weekend. You get to pick kind of your slot where you get to go into this lounge. You get free food, free drinks, and there's probably about maybe 6 to 8 or 9 Bravo Lebs that show up in that lounge for you to kind of mix, mingle with, talk, take pictures with during that time period. It is basically like a mini little VIP lounge that you get access to. This, I feel like, is a really good compromise if you don't want to splurge for the VIP ticket, but you still get to have that VIP experience for a little bit during the weekend. They also announced 5 different Watch What Happens Live tapings that will be happening throughout the weekend. So on Thursday, we have The Days of Our Wives, 20 Years of the Real Housewives. Friday, we have BravoCon Live with Andy Cohen Presents The Bravos, which is kind of like their award show. I went to that last year. It was amazing. Saturday, we have double episodes, The Reading Room, and the #1 guys and gals in the group. And then Sunday is Bravo's Holiday Spectacular. I definitely recommend going to at least one of these tapings. They are so much fun. You kind of get behind the scenes of Watch What Happens Live. Andy really interacts with the crowd during the commercial breaks. It is just a really fun time. Now, on Friday, June 6th, that is actually when the 3-day tickets will be going available. They still do 1-day tickets, but they will release those probably the week or two after the 3-day tickets have already gone on sale. A few other tips and tricks. I do always recommend booking a hotel that is within walking distance to the venue so you can save money on Ubers every day to and from the venue. Also, book them now. Even before you have tickets, book them now, get a refundable room. That way you will be prepared whether you get tickets or not. I think it's good to book your room now because they will be going up in price. Also, say you are a Bravo fan but can't afford a BravoCon ticket. Come to Vegas anyway. The Bravo Lebs are out everywhere. It is pretty much guaranteed that you will run into someone somewhere. If you are up on your social media, stay on Reddit, on Twitter, on TikTok, you will find out where these people are hanging out and you will be able to see them. So even if you're not going to BravoCon, come to Vegas because you will have the time of your life. And I guarantee there will be multiple Bravo Leb sightings that weekend. They usually have a lot of kind of extracurricular events going on as well. I know the disgraced James Kennedy did perform during last BravoCon. Of course, he will not be back this time, but there will definitely kind of be offshoot events and meetups that you can go to as well. Okay, but let's talk about which Bravo Lebs will actually be attending BravoCon because they did release a lineup. And again, it's really interesting because so far we do have the Real Housewives of Miami, Salt Lake City, Atlanta, Beverly Hills, OC, some of the Valley, Below Deck, and some of Summer House who are confirmed to attend. Now, it's really interesting because currently the only Summer House cast member that is confirmed is Amanda, which is interesting. And then, in addition to the whole Valley cast, we also, once again, have Sheena, Brock, and Lala coming to BravoCon, which is really interesting because they're not even like friends of on the show. Once again, they haven't even popped up. So it is interesting that they are not only at the upfronts, but also will be attending BravoCon. So I think it's safe to say that they are not going anywhere. Let me know if you are thinking about going to BravoCon. I would love to meet up with you. And again, drop any comments and questions in the comments below, and I will answer them in my next video. Okay, so speaking of Bravo Lebs that will be attending BravoCon, somebody that will definitely not be at BravoCon, and I am sad to say it because I did meet her at the last one, and she was such a gem, is Queen Sonja Morgan. Now, of course, if you notice, I do have my Queen Sonja Morgan represented up here. She is one of my favorite housewives of all time, but unfortunately, things haven't been going so well for her, and I hope that she pulls it together because this week, she has not only been kicked out of a restaurant in New York, but she actually left a restaurant in Florida in an ambulance. Yes, that was announced today on TMZ. So let's get into it. Earlier last week, Page Six reported hysterical Sonja Morgan blacklisted from NYC Italian hotspot after refusing to pay $1,000 bill she thought was comped. Ex-Real Housewives of New York City star Sonja Morgan caused quite the scene at NoHo hotspot Tucci on Saturday after the restaurant refused to comp her bill, we hear. She called owner Max Tucci after being handed a $1,000 check demanding a comp because, among other things, she's a single mother. She was absolutely hysterical and refused to pay. It was like she was filming a Housewives episode shouting, "I'm a celebrity," a source claimed to Page Six. We're told that she has indeed been given free meals by the restaurant in the past, and she had mistakenly assumed that that would be the case on this occasion. Morgan, 61, began on a dicey ground, booking a table for 3, but arriving amidst a busy weekend night with a party of 5. We're told the group stopped by for dinner and to pregame before hitting up her cousin Jack Morgan's 30th birthday celebration at Boom Boom. So this is the story that came out. I'm kind of not surprised to hear it, I guess. I mean, Lady Morgan is gonna Lady Morgan. If she's been comped by the restaurant before, maybe she did expect it again. I don't know. She did even post an Instagram story circling a message that the restaurant sent her that kind of basically invites her for dinner. Does it say that it will be comped? No, it doesn't. But okay, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, thinking that she just assumed it was. It has been revealed that she did pay the bill a couple days later and did tip generously. So maybe she made up for it. I don't know, but she is still banned from this restaurant. Now you may think, okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. But guys, it gets worse because just today it came out on TMZ that Sonja was actually removed from a restaurant and taken away in an ambulance last night in Florida. Now, I saw this story actually going around on Twitter and I couldn't believe it, but then TMZ reported it. Sonja Morgan leaves restaurant in ambulance. Sonja Morgan took an unexpected ride to the hospital last night, and we have footage of her about to be whisked away. Check it out. Our video shows the Real Housewives of New York City alum seemingly upset while loudly speaking to responding officers at Echo in Palm Beach, Florida, Thursday evening. Sources tell us she chatted with Palm Beach police officers and restaurant staff for about 15 minutes before she hopped on the stretcher and was loaded into the back of an ambulance. Ironically, we're told Sonja called the ambulance for a friend who fell. Unclear how she ended up being the one cared for. The Palm Beach Police Department confirms to TMZ officers responded to a medical call along with fire personnel around 9:45 p.m. last night, and they stayed for less than an hour. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue confirms a patient was treated at the scene. TMZ reached out to Sonja's reps and the restaurant for comment. So far, no word back. But then they posted an update that says Sonja was given a trespass warning last night, according to documents TMZ obtained from the Palm Beach Police Department. She refused to sign the warning the doc shows. So I don't know what this trespassing update is about. Are they talking about the restaurant, or was she trespassing somewhere else? I don't know, but this TMZ story is telling a little bit of a different story than what I saw on Twitter from somebody who was actually at the restaurant. Their post reads, Sonja Morgan at Echo tonight. I was there with work people, and this is from a guy on my team. From my understanding, the police gave her two options: leave in the back of a cop car or leave in an ambulance, and she left in the ambulance. She was effed. She couldn't walk down the steps on her own. I don't know what happened inside. So I think it might be safe to assume that Sonja was drunk. I will say I am glad that she wasn't caught driving, because she has been caught drunk driving before. I mean, I do have her mugshot up here, but it kind of seems like Sonja might be spiraling out of control a little bit. I mean, 2 restaurant incidences in 1 week. It definitely seems like the Tucci one in New York where she got kicked out of. She probably was drunk during that as well, seeing as she was yelling, I'm a housewife, refused to pay the bill, etc. And then this one where it almost kind of seems like she was forcibly kicked out of the restaurant. And I gotta say, I am worried about Our Lady Sonja Morgan. This is definitely not a good look. I don't really know what's going on. We do know that she sold her townhouse a few months ago and has moved down to Florida. So maybe, this transition has been a little bit tough on her. It is unclear kind of the real reason why all of this is going on, but I do wish her well. I wish her the best. I love you, Sonja. I really hope that you kind of get it together and kind of see what's going on. Take a look inward before things get worse, because I don't want to wake up to another mugshot of Sonja Morgan. Okay, while we are on the topic of the Real Housewives of New York, I did want to cover a little update from last week regarding the Rooney cancellation. Now, you guys know my opinions on this. I do think that the reboot should be canceled. I think we need to scrap it and go back to the drawing table and figure out what to do with the future of this franchise. And it does kind of seem like that's what they're doing, because Andy on Radio Andy did announce that they are currently casting for Rooney.
We are
They're in between seasons
on the Housewives. But what's so interesting is last week when I was here, the Bravo execs met with 10 potential new Real Housewives of New York. This is called the casting process between seasons.
Yeah.
Now, I know last week I was like, don't believe it. It's on pause. They say this all the time. But Andy has actually been very adamant this past week that they are currently working on Rooney. He shares that they have actually talked to 10 different women to join the cast. And I've heard that they are actually planning on shooting sometime this summer. So maybe Rooney isn't canceled after all, even though I think it should be. But it is a good sign that they are interviewing so many new women, because let's be real, I think several of them need to be replaced. And I know I called for the OGs to come back, but it definitely looks like Sonja might not be in a position to return to in front of the camera right now. I would love Luann to come back. Always would love Dorinda to come back. So there are still a few OG faces that I think could make a return. But right now, things are a little dicey with some of the cast members. I am glad that they are talking to some new, fresh faces. And I do think that there is a future for this franchise if they continue to make these changes, because it definitely needs some work before it comes back on air. Okay, moving on to another rumor that was quickly shut down. I don't know if you guys saw this, but on Twitter, TV Deets posted a tweet that quickly went viral and people started spiraling out of control. It reads, Bravo is considering putting the Valley on pause after season 2 due to declining ratings and problematic behavior from the cast, The Sun reports. And what I have to say to that is Sit down, the Sun. Stop entering a conversation that you know nothing about. I saw this. I saw people freaking out about it. Did I believe it for 1 second? Absolutely not. If problematic behavior would be the reason that the Valley was put on pause, put every Bravo show on pause, because every Bravo celebrity and every show has people with problematic behavior. That's pretty much the sole reason why we watch these shows. So the fact that this would even be reported and circulated is absolutely insane. I didn't believe it for a second. And we have Alex Baskin, executive producer of The Valley, weighing in and quickly shutting it down. He reposted it to his stories and said there is no truth to this. We've got the entire Valley cast coming to BravoCon. The show is doing absolutely amazing. So guys, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, speaking of amazing seasons, let's jump over to this week's episode of Summer House, because we got the end of Jesse and Lexi. Finally, I have been waiting all season to see how this relationship plays out. Lexi finally cut it off with Jesse. Why did it take her so long? I do not know. It is a little bit weird, actually, if you think about it, that the week before they had this huge fight, they decided to make up and get back together, only for her to break up with him the following weekend because of ... a manicure? I'm sorry, don't take this as me being Team Jesse, but what I'm about to say might be an unpopular opinion. I do think that she broke up with him mainly because of Sierra. I think that she chose to reframe it during the conversation as to she couldn't trust him. It was because he said he was going to get a manicure and she had to question whether he was really going to get a manicure. But there was obviously an off-camera fight that they had about Sierra and about Jesse and Sierra hanging out at the US Open. We did not see this, but it definitely happened. Jesse was talking about it. And that's what Jesse was talking about in the room with the rest of the cast when he was explaining why he thought Lexi broke up with him. Again, I am not Team Jesse, but what he was explaining to them, I think, is actually the real reason why she broke up with him. And people took it to think that they had talked about Sierra in that moment. They didn't. I know we'll get it to be continued because Lexi freaks out at the table because people think that, she brought up Sierra in that conversation. She didn't, but they did talk about her earlier in the week. So I don't know. To be honest, I do think that Sierra was the main reason why they broke up. Did Sierra do anything wrong? Absolutely not. Did Jesse cross the line with Sierra? I think, in my opinion, absolutely. And there is obviously still beef between Lexi and Sierra. I mean, every time they go on Watch What Happens Live, they're kind of throwing subtle punches at each other. It's definitely a mess. I think that's what really happened between Jesse and Lexi, to be honest. And if it wasn't Sierra, it was Jesse's toe separators. Did you guys clock this? This was probably one of the weirdest things I have ever seen on this show. And we've seen a lot, but Jesse and Lexi are in bed together. And he is currently wearing toe separators. Now, I know the toe separator community is probably going to be offended by this opinion, but if Lexi didn't get the ick from Jesse before, I think in this moment, she actually probably did, because what is Jesse's obsession with his toes? First, he decides to get one sucked. Second, he decides to get a manicure, probably threw in a pedicure while he was there. And now he's wearing toe separators. Like, what is this? What is this show about? The show has become about toes, and I don't know how we got here. How did we get here, guys? I don't know. This Jesse Solomon, man, he definitely took West's place as the villain of the season. And as much as we hate him, he did make great TV. They both do. So I am really interested to see how the finale plays out and how the reunion plays out, because there is going to be a lot of drama going down then. So that's it for this week's episode. As always, a lot of unpopular opinions to unpack. Let me know if you agree with me or if you don't in the comments below. Drop your questions about BravoCon as well. I will be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. In the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram at bravobreakingnews. I will try to keep up with all the Bravo news and headlines while I am on vacation. but it's likely you might just get some Aperol Spritz content if you check me out over there. So if you're into that, go follow me over there. If not, I'll be back here in 2 weeks with more Bravo breaking news. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything.